For more on this, we're joined by artist who is involved in the project, Mr. Marcus Wyatt. Mr. Wyatt, thank you so very much for joining us here on SABC News.
Thank you for having me, Flo, and happy Africa Day to you and to South Africa.
Happy Africa Day to you too. Just as a start, talk to us about this project and why the word kindness was used. You know, we're faced with this global pandemic, and I wonder how kindness can help in this pandemic.
Well, as I mentioned, I'm one of the artists involved in the project. I wasn't there at the time when the decision was made to call it the Kindness Contagion. But I guess what it does is represent the essence of the African spirit of Ubuntu and humanity to the world. And I guess also, in this time of isolation where people are being isolated from each other, it would be, I guess, it could be an easy time for people to forget about acts of kindness and doing things for one another because they're not necessarily confronted with those situations. So I think kindness right about now is definitely something that we should all be thinking about, and I guess it can come in many forms. And so I think there's a way for everyone to participate in this from whatever sector of the economy they're from, whether it can actually be financial aid or simple acts of kindness.
Yeah. Talk to us about how you're going along with the project. We do, of course, know that there is a song involved. Maybe you can talk to us about the artists who have been involved in this project and how you all sort of came together to bring this to life.
Well, I guess the way that it came together is the way that a lot of projects are being run at the moment, because we obviously cannot be together. We can't be in the same room to record. So, I mean, myself, I got a phone call about 3 weeks ago from Michael Lee, who's one of the producers, and asked me if I would put some trumpet down on the track. And I think this is basically how many things are being run at the moment. It starts with a track, and then gradually they send the track around, and everyone from the comfort of their own living room or garage or bedroom or wherever it is has time to think of how to contribute to the track, put down what it is that they have to say, and then of course at the end of the day, the project was produced by Gabby LaRue and Camila Lombard down in the Cape. And they would be responsible for putting everything together. And it's quite an assembly of artists from all over the continent. Just from South Africa here, it's Pops Mohammed and Vicky Sampson, Rasi Hotstix Mabuse, Tunokwe, Vusi Mahlasela. It's quite a list. And there are artists from Kenya, from Nigeria, from Reunion, Cape Verde, Mozambique. So yeah, it's quite an ambitious project, but I think I've seen the final video this morning, and it sounds great and it looks beautiful and it's a great message. Yeah,
I mean, it must be quite difficult for artists to respond, to the call of being being kind and so forth, when we know that artists worldwide have been so heavily hit by COVID-19 and the fact that they can't perform, and many of them can't at this point make any sort of money. I mean, from your experience, how has this pandemic really hit you and the artists that I suppose that are close to you, and the difficulty in having to respond to something like this when you know yourself that you're not really in the best of spaces?
Yeah, it is tricky. It's myself, I've traditionally been the kind of musician who I've made a living off mostly from playing live, from playing in front of people, concerts and festivals and recording sessions, etc., etc. And I think obviously there's a large sector of the music industry that are involved in education, and hopefully for a large part of that sector, they still have employment to a certain extent. So I think it's the people who really were the live performers, who relied on that for a livelihood, that are really struggling at the moment. And I think one of the major challenges is obviously to translate that life that involves people, that involves the energy exchange that happens between an artist and an audience. Suddenly that is not there. We suddenly looking into a camera, which is not easy. You guys are professionals. It's not easy for everyone else. And I think also the massive challenge in South Africa and the continent as a whole is that people weren't prepared for this. So, for example, I know such great musicians who might be vocalists or horn players or piano players, and right now, for the duration of this lockdown, they haven't had the facility to even try to represent how they sound by simply having a microphone or an access to a music program, attached to a computer, that they can actually continue to make music and then actually try to put that music online and sell that music. So some people are not even getting past go, to quote Monopoly. Some people are really struggling with that aspect of it. And I think it's something that we do need to address, especially considering, that musicians were the first to stop working, and we will be no doubt the last to start working if we're talking about level 1. So I know that a lot of guys I have worked with are in serious trouble, and just the issue of being able to continue to do what you do in an online world needs to be addressed sooner rather than later.
All right. And just as we wrap up, Marcus, I understand that the song will be free to download from various platforms. Can you share for us how we can get the song, and which is the easiest route to go about downloading it, and which various platforms are those?
So there's a website, which is kindnesscontagion.africa. And I think that, it's on Facebook, it's on all the social media. If you just type in Kindness Contagion, there is a hashtag spread Kindness Africa as well. And there you can download the song. I think it's on YouTube as well, if I'm not mistaken. There's also plenty of space for people to make donations, because at the end of the day, it is also a fundraising initiative, and we are trying to raise funds to support artists in the continent.
All right. Marcus Wyatt, a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you so very much for giving us your time here on SABC News.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.